The power of profiling. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Who are we profiling? We're profiling ourselves, we're profiling our employees, we're profiling potential applicants. The power of profiling. That's what we're talking about today. And this isn't profiling just, for other people. It's also for yourself. As entrepreneurs, one of the key ingredients, one of the key secrets to figuring out how to become successful is understanding the profile, your personality profile, and how that can lead to you generating wealth. Okay? That's what we're going to talk about today. We're also going to talk about profiling other employees, other applicants, and we're going to give you some tools to be able to do that using AI. Okay, so that's a pretty bold hour that we're going to talk about here. You may not know this, but we are actually in a live room on Clubhouse on Startup Club, and you can join us live every Friday, 2 o'clock Eastern, where we talk about ways to start, scale, exit, repeat, and crack the code of what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur. That's what this show is all about. And we've done about 160 episodes. If you're just listening to this in the live show right now, you might not know this, but we actually do have quite a following on podcast and also on YouTube with 53,000 followers. And all of our episodes get posted up on YouTube as well, so you can listen to those episodes there. Today's show, it's all about profiling. If you're in the audience and you want to come on stage and talk about profiling, or if you've had an experience with that, how it's impacted your startup, your business, please join us on stage. We'd be happy to have you up here. And Mimi, if you can post the link on the channel here up on the stage, the link to personalityprofileai.com. And if you're listening to some podcast, you can actually just go to www.personalityprofileai.com and you can begin to answer 16 questions, and it will come up with your DISC profile. And not only your DISC profile, but it'll also come up with your Myers-Briggs. And then just for fun, we train the GPT to give you what celebrities are similar to your profile. Michelle, you've known me now for, I don't know, 7, 8 years now. I'm obsessed with this topic. I think it's been part and parcel of one of the reasons why my companies have been so successful is that we hire people first based on profile and then second based on skills. What are your thoughts about today's topic?
Well, first I want to say we're not talking about profiling in a negative way. We're talking about profiling in a way that helps you as well as the person that you're profiling. So, what do I think about it? I think it's great. What I continually see, and it's not just business, right? People in their personal lives, friendships, etc., as well, is trying to get someone to change and be somebody that they're not. For example, it's wrong to expect let's just say a very creative person that's not an analytical person to throw at them highly analytical tasks and get upset with them when they behave in a way that's true to themselves. And these personality profiles are really understanding what is the true core of a person, and then how to effectively communicate and how to effectively put them in a position where they can thrive. It really is about also self-awareness. So that's how I view it. I find it very valuable. And when I started doing this way back in my career, we used Myers-Briggs back then, which is very similar to DISC, which Colin is going to explain. We had it done. Our HR team actually would do it for all the employees, and then we could all understand how to best work together and how to best get more out of ourselves as well, because it is also about self-awareness, Colin.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying there. Um, and that's where that EQ comes in, right? Like if you are self-aware enough to understand who you are and what you're good at, then you can surround yourself with compliments. And let me give you an example of what you just talked about, Michelle, is me. I'm actually not good at socializing. I get anxiety. I'm scared to do it. I'm not like Jason here who can run for Prime Minister of Canada. I'm not that kind of guy. What I am, though, is somebody who's very analytical, somebody who has dominant profile, someone who is one of my good friends and business partners said, Colin, you're um, the biggest risk taker I know. You take risks more than anyone else. And that may sound scary for a lot of people, but for me, it's just calculating the odds. It's like sitting down at a blackjack table and just saying, okay, what are my odds of winning if I play a perfect game? Which, by the way, if you include spiffs, you can actually get to 49.6% odds in Vegas with the right tables. So you can see how I analyze things, but when it comes to sales and socializing and that kind of stuff, it just I'm nervous. I get anxiety. I'm fearful of it. It's not in my nature to do that kind of stuff. And as an entrepreneur, as everyone here knows in this room and everybody listening to this podcast, as you all know, this is actually one of the most important things you need to be able to do in being a founder is to be able to sell. Now, I grudgingly I do it, and I have my own ways, my own techniques. But when I want to scale a company, I hire someone who's got the sales ability. Let me tell you, when I want to scale a tech company, I hire a CTO. I'm not a geek. I only aspire to be one. Those who know me will laugh because I can't even transfer a domain name, and I've run many $100 million tech companies for many years, and it's funny to see that I just don't have that technical capability, and it just don't have that. I just don't have the IQ or intelligence to be able to figure out how to do stuff. But what I do understand is what people want, and maybe that's the connection. I don't know. I do recognize I need a CTO, and I do recognize that I'm not very fastidious. It's not. I don't have that steadiness, and I'm using terms, and I'm going to bring this around in a minute to the disc profile, and we're going to be doing a crash course here. But I'm not very fastidious. So when it comes to accounting, you don't count. As Michelle knows, like Colin, you got 7 credit cards. They say you're a disaster. You're a disaster. But what am I good at? What am I good at? Michelle, what am I good at, personality wise, in running businesses? Because you've seen me
Yeah.
now do this for many, many years.
So I know that you're very, like you said, analytical, but not analytical in the way, and you can explain this probably better than myself, Colin, not in a way where I'm Colin and I have to sit in a room and spend hours and hours with tons of data analyzing. No, that's not you. You are very analytical. You're very strategic, and you're able to really grasp onto, I would say, the important aspects without necessarily going into the nitty gritty weeds and asking questions. So when I say you're analytical, I'm not saying you're a data scientist. I'm saying you're strategic, right? You have that dominance and you have that analytical aspect to your core being. You spot patterns too, I would say.
Yeah, and what's interesting about scaling businesses too is that um, we often see that people who have that sales capability, the influence, uh, and 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 uh, Marcia, I'd be interested to get your opinion on this one. I know you're in the audience here, but I'd be happy to have you up here to talk about this as well. But this idea that you know you're really good at sales and you can drive your business forward. The people who are, we call them DIs, dominant and influential. They typically have much more of a challenge in scaling. Whereas a DC, dominant and conscientiousness, those individuals who are analytical and they're the ones who actually recognize they need to hire other people, and then we use other people's skills and personalities to scale our business, versus the DIs who is just, it's all about them. And we see that often in leaders and companies and whatnot. Even Jim Collins, who did Good to Great, did a great job of trying to break that down as, level five leaders are sort of humble leaders. It's not all about them. It's about their team and the people around them. And if you ever want to scale your business, understanding the personality profile of yourself and all the individuals around you can help you scale. In fact, 99.9% of companies never really scale in the United States. It's fascinating. We have a whole section of the book called Scale, and we break down something like 30, 40 chapters and concepts around scaling, and one of them is the personality profiling and identifying that. In the book on page 187, I don't know if you have the book there handy. Um, if you don't, by the way, here's a plug. Here's my sales coming in, right? Here, I'm sort of to violate exactly what I just said, but we've been number one in 14 categories on Amazon. We hit our 14th category last week, which was small business. And we're expecting to hit, I'm talking number one positions. So we've been number one in 14 different categories on Amazon. And we're expecting that number to increase dramatically on August 27th when the paperback comes out, because we've got a whole new book and a whole new strategy for that. But in the book, we talk about DISC, and if you follow Star Trek, maybe this is going to be a little too weird for a few people. I told you I'm not a geek. I only aspire to be one. But I'm just going to go through those four things on a DISC profile. And you can take some courses on this. You can become really good at it. And by the way, it can be a fun bar trick too. I've done profiling of individuals who are across the way in a bar, and I'm able to profile those individuals from a distance just by looking at their mannerisms, just by hearing the knock of a door and how intense that knock is. We used to have games we'd play at the office when somebody knocked on a door or something. Okay, what do you think that personality? What do you think the profile of that personality of the individual who knocked on the door? So you can actually eventually begin to pick it up just by looking and hearing, listening. It's a little tricky when you're just talking on voice. If you're just audio only, it can be a little tricky, but you can actually pick up this when you start to see the mannerisms. They start to see the way they dress. Okay, this is important. The way that their shoes, how clean their shoes are. It's like Sherlock Holmes type stuff, but it's not that complicated. It's a lot simpler. It's like blackjack. Everybody thinks it's complicated. To play a perfect game, it's actually relatively easy. You just have to follow a few rules. It's the same thing with personality profiling. You can do that. But there are also a number of online tests that you can take, or you can have your people take, or you can have the prospects that you're going to hire take. But anyway, going back to page 187, we have a really cool graphic here. For DISC, DISC stands for dominant, influence, steadiness, and conscientiousness. Okay? So dominance, think go-getter. They're decisive. They like to take charge. They're like, just let's do this. Like Michelle is a freaking dominant leader. She is tough as I've ever seen them, and very, 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 very. I'm not going to say pushy. It's the reality is they're tough and they move forward and they're pushing forward at all times. They're being very proactive, instinctually proactive. And I use examples of Captain Kirk, going with that Star Trek analogy. And then you got influence, social, the people person, the life of the party. I put Scotty down as that one. And then you've got conscientiousness. This is the person who always has to get it right. Okay, very analytical. And who do we know on Star Trek like that, Michelle? Who's got the pointy ears?
Spock, of
Spock,
course.
of course, exactly. And then you've got the quintessential accountants, sorry, the S. S stands for steadiness. I say quintessential accountant or doctor, stable, clean shoes, follows methods very closely. Leonard Bones McCoy. And that's sort of an elementary view of DISC. But as we know, humans are not one, they're multiple. So when we look at DISC, we like to look at the dominant personality, actually number one personality, and then the number two personality. And then we build a profile based on those two personalities. Okay? So we look at we don't look at all the personalities necessarily. You could probably go a little deeper and start to look at the third, and then what's the least personality. Some people are a little bit more balanced than others. They have they can go between them a little better. But generally, everyone has two dominant personalities. Okay, and um, and it's interesting how personality profiling started. This started in 1929. And by the way, if you're Googling and I get my year wrong, I do believe it was 1929, but I do all this just from memory. I don't have notes in front of me other than my book, which I have in front of me right now. But it was started in 1929, and it was based on the concept of understanding why which fighter pilots would come back from war. And they began to look at the personality profiles of the fighter pilots that would come back from war. And believe it or not, it wasn't the maverick personality. It wasn't that dominant influence. It wasn't that type of personality. It was more the DSs, the ones who could follow the rules and be very fastidious. They weren't thinking or analyzing. They were just following rules of engagement. And they typically had a higher chance of succeeding or living. So that's where personality profiling started from. We can apply that in business. And this is one of those secret codes that you can use to start a business. You can use it to scale your business. And it's absolutely critical in scale because in start, we're going to delegate tasks to all those around us. In scale, we're going to delegate responsibilities. And if you really want to scale your business, one of the key ingredients is that you need dominant and influential for someone who's running a smaller business, running sales. Somebody's because you need someone to run the sales, they need to be dominant, influential. Um, you need someone who's, if you're a bigger company, you can go with a DS or DC to run your sales because you're now just focused on systems only. You're not actually the one who's actually going out there and getting the deals done. So there is a slight difference between the two. But then if for an operation standpoint, you're going to want a DC or DS. From a CTO perspective, you're going to want um, a DC. So you're starting to see a pattern forming here for leaders is that if you hire leaders and you do it effectively, the key is to hire those with dominant personality profiles. All right, I know that's a lot, and we're going to jump more into actually getting you to test your own profile here today because we want you to figure that out. We've designed a custom GPT that you can click on the screen above and start to answer 16 multiple choice questions to figure out your personality profile. We do have Jason on the stage. Jason, what are your thoughts about this topic? I know you've got quite a personality, I will say that. So we'd love to hear from you, Jason.
Oh, thank you so much. I was just doing the test because I love that. I love those tests. I haven't done this exact one. I don't remember on this scale what I am. I do remember we did some of this profiling when I worked at Microsoft. This was a long time ago, and some of these other ones I was a persuader, personality type, debater slash persuader, but that's not on this scale. Where I'm interested in. I really think it's useful. I'm interested in finishing it after. But what I would say about that is that I think the one of the most important things is really designing your career and your business so that it suits your personality profile. So I think that's more important than scaling it to be like take over the world and stuff. Because if you actually listen to people that are founders that have already done a lot and made a lot of money, like my example is Bill Gates, because I worked at Microsoft. It's not about the money. They're driven by purpose and to be excellent and great. And sometimes that means that you have to do a whole ton of things that you don't really like to do. So, like I do believe in designing your business for your it's a balance with your life and give you peace and comfort as opposed to and freedom as opposed to getting it to take over the world. I think a lot of people that are trying to scale, so they get the next Facebook. I think a lot of them are misguided because, um, like, Bill Gates had that, and he still had the same problems as other people. He was upset when, he got divorced in the pandemic. He was depressed because he was alone. Like, you end up being like everybody else, even if you scale all over the world. And your family matters the most, like your peace and comfort matters the most. So I don't really want to scale a business so it goes all over the world. I don't want to run the next Facebook. I really think people that want to are misguided. It comes with a lot of, like, I think, I don't know who it was, more money, more problems. Like, I don't want to do that. So I think that a lot of people don't understand what it's like, to be a billionaire and to run a company that's all over the world. Like, do you want to be able to decide if Ukraine accesses your satellite or not? Like, do you want to be responsible for, like, deciding how to resolve a war? Like, I will do that in politics, but a lot of people don't realize that in business, then you have to make those decisions and lay off a lot of people. And if you really understand yourself, you can decide that that's not for you, and that's okay. So it's not always about maximizing revenues and taking over the world and scaling to be all over the world in all the languages. I really don't want to do that. So I think that one thing, when you really know yourself, you can decide what kind of business you want to have. And sometimes it's not all about scaling all over the world. I don't want to do that. This is Jason. I'm done speaking.
Yeah, no, I'm hearing you. You're triggering a few things that I'm thinking about here as well. Uh, Interestingly enough, there is no right or wrong about profiling. Profiling is something that um, it's who you are. It's a reflection of your personality. And I don't want to leave the wrong impression here that, oh, if someone doesn't fit perfectly in these, the square peg in the round hole, or the round peg in a square hole, then you should fire the person, or you should move the person to a different role. Now, let me explain a couple things here. Everybody does have a personality, and that personality forms in early ages. You can actually do a personality profile, I believe, at the age of 6, and you won't see much change over the next 25 years. You can see improvement in skills. You can see a little bit of movement based on situation, different factors, but generally everyone has similar profiles. Now, one of the keys to understanding your team, if you have them all do a profile test, is how do I interact with them as a leader? Okay. So I don't necessarily have to fire the person in sales if they're not good at closing. Right? Let me give you an example here. So if I'm a sales manager, or I'm the founder or the startup owner, and I hire salespeople, for me to the best salespeople you can hire probably would be DIs. I'll throw that out there: dominant and influential. Okay, they're social and they're dominant. Dominant in the sales world means closing. They're always closing. They know how to get the deals. I've hired some phenomenal DIs in my life, but let me tell you this: they're extremely expensive. Okay, and many of them already run their own businesses, right? And my most successful salespeople, I'm telling you, were DIs. Okay, I'm not going to deny that, but we can't necessarily afford that. So often we'll look in a salesperson. You want the eye. You got to have the eye. That's 100%. Okay, if you don't have the eye, if you're not social, you're not likable, you're not good at sales. So we're going to want the I, but we can have an IS. So think dominant and OCD. Sorry, influential and OCD. We're going to have an IC. We can have influential, analytical, and they could be really good at solving problems for customers, whatever. But then you're going to want to complement them. As the leader, you're going to want to, or the sales manager, whoever it is, you're going to want to complement them. And often when I'd go on the road with a DS, I won't mention names here, but with the DS that was, very social, and you get 100 people, lots of people in the room at the party, whatever, I'd be the closer. Okay. So sometimes that's okay. But when we understand the personality profile, we begin to understand what's the role I need to play with this individual in order to manage this individual really well. And the role of closing is one where you often have in sales forces where you have ISs and ICs. Okay, they're dominant personalities. That's their I shouldn't use dominant because I'm mixing y'all up, but that is their dominant personality, the IS or the IC. Okay, they're not dominant in nature. That's the personality. I'm using the word here in two different ways, but the reality is we want to understand ourselves and we want to understand the people around us and we want to understand our prospects and we want to understand the actual position that we're designing. Okay, in order for us to get to $1 million in sales, we need to hire the CTO. What is the personality profile of that CTO? And what are the skills needed for this CTO to be successful with us? And at least we've got that as a start before we even put the ad out there. Then we put the ad, we bring people in, we profile them, we use the technology to profile them. And again, there's many services on the internet that can do the profiling. If you have a ChatGPT account, you can click on that link right there and you can actually complete the profile. We created a custom GPT. And by the way, we've been doing this. You may not know this actually. We came out with a booklet a couple weeks ago. It's on sale for $6.99. It's 72 pages long. It's a physical book. Okay, no AI was used in the creation of the book. I can say that. And we created exercises based on the first section of the book called Start. And then we have a QR code and a domain name with most of the exercises where you can actually run the exercise to help you answer the questions in the in the uh, in the section you're in. So, for instance, profiling, that's one of the questions. And we have in the book, we have Personality Profile AI. You can scan the QR code. And if you go to that right now, Personality Profile AI, there's 16 questions. We created these custom GPTs. We created them to support the book, to support Startup Club members. And literally, just click on Start the Personality Test, 16 questions, and you can answer those questions as you go through it. If you don't have a membership, you can still access it for free, but you just have to register, log in. And sometimes if you don't, ChatGPT has been expanding this, but if they're really tight on, I guess, processing or whatever, then they might block you for a few hours if you're in a free membership. But for the most part, you can access it for free. So here's question number 16. Everyone's different because AI, it's not necessarily 100%. You can actually hard code the questions when you create a custom GPT, but we did not. We let the AI try to figure out those questions. When faced with a new challenge, how do you usually approach it? Michelle, I'm going to ask you this question, okay? All right, Michelle, are you ready for your profile, Michelle? I'm going to do this,
Oh gosh.
okay?
I'm so
So I'm going to do
nervous.
this for you. Okay, so when faced with
All
new
right.
challenges,
Because this is the problem, right? Like there's what I want to be, there's what I am.
yeah. Okay,
Okay.
so but the
I'm
key to
just
profiling tests is to answer them honestly. Just
okay. All right.
really be
Well,
clearly
listen.
honest.
But
It's not going to help you by lying.
okay,
If
I'm
you're
not
applying for a job or
lying,
whatever.
but I might see myself differently. So if you think I don't, you can tell me if you see me differently. That's all I'm trying to say. Okay, I'm on
All
the
right.
spot here.
Yeah. And by the
Okay.
way, Marshall, welcome onto the stage.
Hi,
We're just going to
Marcia.
make you a moderator there. We should probably have picked on you for personality profile,
Oh my gosh.
but I've
All
got a
right,
victim already. We got Michelle. All right, so
victim. Yes, that would be
yeah,
it.
exactly. So question 16. All right, when faced with a new challenge, how do you usually approach it? Analyze and plan, jump right in, seek, I already know you're going to jump right in. Seek advice, avoid and delay. You're jump right in.
Yeah, my motto is move forward. Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
jumping in.
Yeah, and we
I'm
got to go
jumping in.
quickly here too. We don't want to. All right. How do you typically handle stress? Stay calm, think logically, take actions to alleviate the stress, talk it out with someone, or withdraw and reflect.
Okay, definitely not the last one. Shit.
Stay
Sorry.
calm and think logically, take action to alleviate the stress, or
I try
talk
to
it out with
take
someone.
action. This is a hard one because I do all the first three ones. So you put which one?
No, you can tell me. You can tell me which one. Talk it out with someone, take action to alleviate the stress, or stay calm and think logically.
I try to stay calm, I think, first and foremost.
All right.
I know you
I
disagree.
thought you were talking it with someone, but that's good.
um, that's what I said. All right, talk it out then, because
How do
yeah,
you prefer to make decisions? Rely on facts and data, go with my gut, consult with others, weigh all options. And I'm
weigh
doing
all
a
options.
quick version. When you actually do the test, it gives you examples of everything. So I'm not actually doing I'm not giving you the full line. So I'm just
All
trying
right,
to make this a
keep
little bit
going.
faster. Yeah. And how do you typically spend your free time? Engage in a hobby, socialize with friends, relax and unwind, or stay active?
I like to relax and unwind.
All right. That's interesting. How do you handle conflicts with others? Do you address them directly? Stay calm and composed. Avoid confrontation. I know you don't avoid confrontation. I know that's not it. Or seek compromise. How do you handle conflicts with others? Address them directly. Stay calm. Avoid confrontation or seek compromise.
One of the first two ones.
Address them directly. Yeah,
Yeah, I would
I
say.
think you are. Yeah. How do you feel about working in a team? I love it. I'd prefer to work alone. I don't mind either way. I find it challenging.
I don't mind it either way.
All right. Awesome. How do you handle tight deadlines? Do you work methodically, thrive under pressure, seek help if needed, or feel stressed but
I
manage?
thrive under pressure.
Okay. Fantastic. Like, it's very positive, the AI here. How do you approach learning new skills? Research and study, hands-on practice, learn from others, or take my
Hands on.
time? Yeah, you are
Hands
hands-on.
on.
Yeah, exactly. How do you handle criticism? Reflect on it, brush it off, seek clarification, feel hurt, but learn from it.
I seek clarification.
I would have went with number 4, but that's okay.
What was four?
How do you? 4 was feel hurt, but learn
Oh
from
my
it.
God, no! I actually like
Okay,
feedback.
okay, fine. It's not my personality. How do you approach planning and organizing? Detailed and structured, flexible and adaptable, minimal planning, delegate tasks. I prefer to assign tasks to others and oversee the process. How do you? I'm giving you limited. That's one of my issues
I
here,
know, but
real
what were
quickly.
the
But
first two ones? Say it
so,
again.
how do you approach planning and organizing? Detailed and structured. I like to have everything planned out meticulously.
No.
2, flexible and adaptable. I prefer to have a loose plan and adapt as needed. 3, minimal planning. I do no planning
Two.
basically.
The second one.
4, delegate tasks. I prefer to assign
Two.
tasks to others and oversee the
The
process.
second
I'm
one.
definitely a 4. I'm definitely a
I
4.
know you are. I'm not.
Yeah. Question number 6. How do you prefer? I'm going down from 16 to 6. I'm at 6 now. How do you prefer to communicate? Direct and to the point, friendly and engaging, detailed and thorough, listen more than
Direct.
speak.
Direct.
Yeah, 100%. You could just interrupt me too if you feel that you already got the answer. How do you handle routine tasks? Consistent and efficient. Do you get bored easily? Adapt to them. Procrastinate. It's a
All
tough
right.
one.
I think if I have to tell the truth, I'm going to say it's a tie between procrastinate and the second one.
So procrastinate is I tend to delay routine tasks as long as possible, which I don't see you doing.
No, I
And the
don't do
second one,
that.
bored easily. I find routine tasks boring and
I
seek
get bored
variety.
easily, but I still do it. I like to just get it over with. I don't know which one said
Consistent
that.
and that's 1. I stick to the routine and complete tasks efficiently.
Okay, that's it. All right.
Yeah. All right. How do you react to unexpected changes? Adapt quickly. I adjust quickly and find a new way forward. Feel stressed but cope. Seek stability. Analyze the situation. I take time to understand the change before reacting. How do you react to unexpected changes?
I think it was the first one.
So it's adapt quickly. I adjust quickly and find a new way forward. Number 2,
Yes,
feel
that's
stressed but
definitely
cope.
it.
3,
Yeah.
seek
No,
stability. 4, analyze the. It's
no.
interesting you say that because I was number 4. I'm just saying.
Which one
So
is that?
that was I take time to understand. It's okay. We're different.
No,
I take time to
I'm
understand
all
change
about
before I do.
moving forward. I
How do
don't
you
want to get.
set? Yeah, you're just fire, shoot, aim, right? I know you. I'm teasing. I'm joking. I'm joking.
That's not true,
Don't shoot me.
actually,
I
Colin.
know.
But go
I
ahead.
know. I joke. It was a bad joke. Okay. How do you set and pursue your goals? Set ambitious goals. One, set ambitious goals. I'm high and work hard to achieve them. Two, practical and achievable. I set realistic and attainable goals. Three, go with the flow. I don't set strict goals. And four, collaborate on goals. I like to set and achieve goals with others.
See, this is a problem when you feel like you're multiple
I
things.
know you got multiple there. So one, you set ambitious goals. I aim high and work hard to achieve them. Practical and achievable. I set realistic and attainable goals. Go with the flow or collaborate on goals. So you just got to answer one of them. Again, come on. We got hundreds of people here listening to you.
I know, I
Pick
know.
one.
I'm not this. The pressure's on. All right, so I'm going to say. See, this is the thing. I have little secrets, like we all do. In myself, I set high goals, but so I don't look bad. I set practical ones in front of people. So you choose.
I'm not choosing. You got to pick one or four, one to four. One is set ambitious
Jeez.
goals. Two, practical and achievable. Go with the flow or collaborate on goals. You got to pick it. Pick it. Just choose your first instinct. That's your
All
personality.
right, I set aggressive goals for myself personally.
So set ambitious goals. One. Okay, got it. All right. Excellent. Let's move forward to the next question. How do you handle feedback from others? Appreciate it. You appreciate feedback. I value feedback and use it to improve. You take it personally. I often feel hurt by feedback, even if it's constructive. Three, you consider it selectively. I weigh the feedback carefully and use what I find helpful. Four, I seek it out. I actively ask for feedback to ensure
I
I'm
actually
on the right
actively
track.
ask for feedback.
Okay. I would have guessed number one, but that's okay. Last question. How do you usually approach problem solving? Logical and analytical, creative and innovative, collaborative, quick and decisive. How do you usually approach problem solving?
I think the
Logical and
second one.
analytical. I break down the problem to find a logical solution. Two, creative and innovative. I
All
think
right,
outside the box and find creative solutions. Three, collaborative. I work with others to find the best solution. Four, quick and decisive. I make fast decisions to solve the problem quickly.
okay, I'm not like off the charts fast. I think I am. I like to collaborate, but I also like to be creative about it.
And you're also logical and analytical. Okay, so you're
Yeah,
all four. Okay,
I
so
know. So,
that's yeah. You got to sort of choose one again.
all
You're
right, just say
logical and
one.
analytical.
Just say one logical, because I don't like it when I think people make ad hoc decisions.
Michelle, thank you for completing your personality profile. See, I know your personality profile. I know it's a DC, dominant and conscientious, so your two dominants. But just going through this, reinforce that. So here's your personality profile. Your disc profile is dominant characteristics 40%. Your secondary characteristic is conscientiousness, which is 35%. Your Myers Briggs is INTJ, introverted, intuitive, thinking, and judging. That doesn't sound very nice, does it? Okay.
It sounds like I should be a lawyer.
Your detailed assessment. You're direct, decisive, and enjoy challenges. You thrive in environments where you can take control and achieve results.
Yeah.
You're proactive, willing to take risks, and often drive projects forward with your energy and determination. Your conscientiousness. You are detail-oriented, systematic, and like to plan carefully. You value accuracy and precision, ensuring that tasks are completed to high standards. Your logical approach helps you analyze situations thoroughly and make informed decisions. And it goes on and on and on. So here are some of the, and you'll like this, Jason. Here are some of the famous people she has similar profiles to: Elon Musk, Bill
I'll take it.
Gates, Bill Gates, DC, Angela Merkel, and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
All right, I'll take it.
And of course, this GPT is based on the number one bestseller, Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat. To get more of these tools, feel free to join our mailing list at startup.club. We got thousands of people on our mailing list now. And we really do put out, we have like 8 speakers booked in September, October, authors and experts and whatnot. And then if you like this GPT, check out companyvaluesai.com. The reason why I'm actually reading this is not to really promote us, although I'm doing that at the same time. It's because when you build your GPT or a custom GPT, which are free to do, you can add these little hooks at the end and they can actually generate. We have a whole different show that we did about 3 weeks ago on this, but we are talking about personality profile and the power of profiling. That's your personality, Michelle. You have that DC, dominant conscientiousness personality. The vast majority of entrepreneurs are DIs, dominant and influential, because they use their sales ability to deliver early sales. And I was doing a speech at MIT in 2012, and a lady came up to me afterwards, and she almost was like, she was crying out. She was tearing up. She was crying. And I said, "What's wrong?" And she said, "Look, my whole life, I see that we belong to an organization called EO. And this was to 60 successful entrepreneurs who had over $1 million in sales and had been selected to get into this master's program. And I was speaking to that group. And she said, but my whole life, I believed that I wasn't really an entrepreneur because I wasn't like the other people around me. See, I don't have actual evidence on this. I'm just going to give a guess, but I guess probably about 70% of all entrepreneurs are DIs. Because early on, in order to succeed in a business, you need that sales acumen to be able to get the business off the ground. But some of the most successful entrepreneurs are DCs who actually understand that these need to hire out those other personality profiles. See, that's the key ingredient. That's the key to success. Just think about that for a second. This is my personality profile. What I need to do is hire that out. And a lot of DIs, I'm not saying they're narcissists, but there are narcissistic tendencies that exist in all of us, and DIs more so than others. But the analytics, they recognize that, oh, if I really want to scale my business, then I really do need to not be the bottleneck. I should not be the bottleneck. Now, if you're DI, do not get me wrong. You need to perform. You need to deliver. You need to get your company up to a certain level. But when you hit that level, when you get to that point, then you can now identify, if you have the EQ to recognize that you can scale this business beyond yourself by hiring the right sales manager, or by hiring the right operator, or by hiring the right, whatever it is. If you can recognize that I can actually hire other DIs or other ISs or other ICs, if I can do that, I can scale the company dramatically. And the number one thing holding you back from scaling your business is you. That's what it is.
I have a question,
All right.
Colin, and I think
Go
you're the
ahead,
best
Jason.
best person to answer this because I haven't done the test yet because I was paying attention to what your conclusions were with her. What would you say somebody is if instead of hiring a lot of people, they do a very customized niche lifestyle business like I have done, where I'm done my book course, and that's why next decade I can run for prime minister on the book course. I'm not interested in. I know how to do it. Don't get me wrong. I know how to do it. Right. I could do that, change my business model, hire, and just be like a tech company. But I chose a lifestyle business. I took two pieces of. Bill Gates said he would do two things differently if he had to start over. Number one is he said he wouldn't start young, drop out, right? He would finish school, work for other companies. The other thing is, he said he wouldn't have any full time employees at all. So I have a model where people have to do the work themselves. They have to, multi level marketing, they have to kind of like, want to sell it and stuff like that. Not that many people want to do that. They want to get paid a salary. And I don't want to do that. I find when I pay somebody a salary, I put my tech in India. As soon as I put him on a salary, he relaxed. He stopped coming to meetings on time. And I said, look, you're going back, right, on project work. So I don't really want to do that. I know everybody wants a salary. I don't want to do that. And I want to stay small so that I'm nimble. I have time to come to these rooms. I'm not managing people. What would you say I am? Because I don't want to scale big. I want to be free. I'm done speaking.
Well, Jason, you got to take the test, but I believe you're a DI. I'll throw that out there. I also believe that you're not, you would not be happy in a job. That's not who you are. And by the way, a lot of people, um, in the world globally, most people do not have dominant personality profiles. You often see it's. I don't have the exact number, but my guess would be 10 to 20% of the population would actually have those profiles. A lot of people are happy with just going to work. My twin brother, he's an electrician. He goes to work every day. He got a position in a union. They want him to run the team in Canada. Now he moved to Newfoundland, by the way. He's one of your future voters, Jason. But he actually turned it down. I don't want to run the. I don't want to do that. He says, I don't want to do that. What I want to do is I want to go to work, I do my job, and I go home. I don't want any headaches. So let's not stick a round peg in a square hole. Everybody's got different personality. Jason, your personality, I know you're like a go-getter, you're proactive, you're dominant, you're social, you're fun. I can see right away that for some people, like you included, you wouldn't be happy if you were at a job. Marsha, I'm curious to hear about you. I mean, we just sort of hit a lot of sort of different chords here about profiling. I don't know your profile, Marsha. My guess is if you taken the test, you're either a DC or DS, but I need a little bit more time to follow through on that. I think DC would be my guess, but okay, Marsha,
I
go
I
ahead.
haven't taken it yet because I've been listening to you, but I want to. And I will when I get done listening. I don't multitask well because I take one task straight on and get it done. But well, no, I can multitask a little, but not take a task because you have to concentrate a little bit on getting those answers. But to Jason's comment, Bill Gates would be a horrendously horrible employee. He would never play with the team. He's definitely the lead dog. And then, Colin, I wanted to ask you, how many times during your life does your personality profile change? Because life experiences and some of the really big life experiences, I believe, have changed my profile. And I'm anxious when I take the test to see, keep that in the back of my head as I'm doing it. So, how many times does it change?
All right, so I hope I don't piss anybody off when I say this, but you know, I think there was a lot of hope that Donald Trump would change his personality after being shot in the head at a rally, and he didn't. There was pretty much no change. I understand that there are life experiences that people have, and that does change their lives. I'm not saying um, that you can't change your life, you can't make yourself better, you can't improve yourself by reading books and learning. Of course, you can become successful. I'd even go as far as to say that um, personalities, those who are not dominant, if they actually partner with a dominant personality or marry or whatever, they could actually become entrepreneurs. So I'm not even saying if you don't have dominant personality, you can't be a successful entrepreneur. But here's a case study of where a guy gets shot in the head and near dies, and almost no change in his personality. And I'm not saying that like everybody's different, and you've gone through a lot. And studies have shown, Marsha, that personalities don't change. You can literally look at a personality of someone who's the age of 7 or 8 years old, and 25 years later, it's the same personality profile. I've taken personality profiles now for about 20, 30 years, and so I've never changed. Now, and it's interesting, Marsha, in your particular case, you've done about 150 or 100 products you've invented, and an inventor. And so I often think about the personality profile of inventors. And one of them who was our partner at PAW, he was a DS because he was so fastidious. He was actually really good at figuring out the fine details and figure it. And then you got the DCs who are a little bit more analytical and says, okay, now I need to make a product radically different, or I need to do this or that. That's why I was sort of going with that profile for you because, that's sort of the. But it's interesting because inventors could have different personality profiles as well. I'm not saying a DI can't be an inventor, dominant, influential. We do see that. There's inventiveness in all of us, right? But I just want to sort of get your perspective on that thought.
And a question that you just brought up that made me wonder, where or how does birth order and gender affect profile, personality
Okay,
profiling?
now you're going to need a doctorate in psychology to get an answer on that one. I actually don't believe, personally, I don't intuitively, I don't believe it actually plays a factor or a role. Again, because that's the personality profile is innate. It comes from your genetics. Um, it's not like I can learn to have fun socializing if I don't like to socialize. Don't get me wrong, we can do elements of each. Like I don't want you to think, oh, this is my diagnosis. This is like was it Hunger Games that chose your role in society based on technology, whatever. I believe that was the movie. It was another movie. I can't. Anyway, it was one of those movies. But I don't want you thinking that. As an entrepreneur, you got to be a jack of all trades. You got to be a salesperson from day one, even if you aren't good at it. You just got to keep trying and plugging away. But what I'm trying to do here is get you to recognize this is who you are. These are your strengths and weaknesses based on your personality. And we do want to identify those positions in our company that we need to scale to get to the next stage gate, to the next point in time where we say we can succeeded. And at the same time, identify the profiles for those positions and also the skills needed. Yeah, no, it doesn't matter, Marsha. I mean, I'm not an expert 100. I'm not a doctorate in psychology, but I have heard speakers say that in the past that does not play a role.
See, in my instance, I think it was a pivotal role. I was the third girl born to an Iowa farmer, and all he wanted were sons to carry on the farm. That position made me incredibly competitive. I was always going to fight to be number one or be noticed because I was the third girl. They didn't want me. My middle sister, the one that's next oldest to me, has always been the peacekeeper between my eldest sister and myself. We're the two feisty ones, and Nancy was always a peacemaker. And it's been through their whole life. When I look at where her life path has taken her, she's always been a peacekeeper. And my eldest sister and I have always been the feisty fighters. So, in my instance, I think that birth order genetic or birth order, um, male or female, was a huge impact in how I ended up growing up.
They
I do think
also
environment
call it
matters. Sorry.
nurture over nature. And this is a debate I think that will never end, Marcia. Like it's never going to end. There's so many impacts. I think it's such an interesting conversation. And I think it is
Yeah,
a little bit of both, quite honestly, Colin.
there is. I do believe there is elements of that. I agree with you there. And I look at okay, I have a similar background, a poor farming background. I was the fifth kid, literally 24 minutes behind my twin brother. So I'm number five in this family. And I often think about like how that influenced me to look, nobody's noticed I exist, period. So I had to like try harder, and I look for affirmation a little bit
That
more
I
than other
totally
people.
get
And
that with you. Yeah,
what? I know. And I
I
look for
know.
affirmation, and you know, I have a survival instinct. And oh, by the way, my father died when I was very young, so really was poor, homeless at one time. So like, I do have that survival instinct. I do think that that has informed me as an entrepreneur and been part of my character. It is a little bit different than personality. Back when I was 14 years old or 13 years old before my father died, I had a similar sort of introverted personality, but at the same time, when he did die, I learned like I had to learn how to survive. I had to learn how to fight. I had to learn how to do things I'd never had done before following his death, and it did change me. It did change who I was. So there is, yeah, 100%. There's definitely environment things that occur that can change your life and help you to become a better entrepreneur. And some of those things can be very negative. But at the same time, your personality profile, that's pretty consistent. Catherine, thank you for coming on stage. We love to have new people come on stage and love to follow. If you do come on stage, I'm already following you. It's great. But we'd love to hear from you on this topic.
Thank you. I was trying, I put it in the chat and they said, oh, your free trial of chat GPT stopped. Upgrade to a $20 a month, which is a stretch for me. But I said, okay, 1 month.
Yeah,
I'll
there we
find out
go.
my, but then I'll have to re-enter it. Didn't let me continue. So I asked in there, is there a way to really take it for free? Not that you're trying to charge, but the software, if it leads you to chat GPT and that's where they only give you a few moments of free. Did you realize?
Yeah, yeah, no, I recognize that. Yeah, and one of the ways I structured the 16 questions was with multiple choice, and it causes a lot more processing power to do multiple
Okay.
choice questions. So what's happening there is it's blocking you because it's realizing, oh, you've already, we want you to upgrade, we want you to upgrade, and I do believe the having an AI membership on ChatGPT is is critical. I'm doing an article right now for the Built-in blog, very popular entrepreneurship blog, and
Okay.
it's on custom GPTs and GPT, and it really is like strapping on a Tony Stark outfit, and unbelievable how powerful AI has been in my life in the last year and the things that I've been able to do. You know, we are all jack of all trades as startup founders, but not anymore. We're master of all trades. Everything from law to accounting, tax accounting, it doesn't matter what it is. And so investing that $20 may be the wisest choice. I don't have any shares. I don't have any ownership in OpenAI, but I do believe it's one of the best things you can do in your life right now to further yourself. OpenAI will be opening those. They've clamped down hard on that, but they will be opening up that spigot a lot more so that you can create these types of codes or exercises and do it without a programmer and have people access it. But they will be opening it up more. They've talked about getting more and more access to it, so it becomes more of a standard way for people to interact with the internet.
Right.
So,
So
but
I'm just saying when you say, oh, you can take this for free, say if you have AI, otherwise it might be $20 a month. Just so people don't feel like, oh, roadblock, it's not my destiny. No, I'm not going to put in 5, 10 more
how
minutes.
many questions did you get through before it did that?
Oh, I think about seven.
Yeah,
It's like halfway.
yeah. So I
So,
before the
so
show, I
that's valuable for you. I'm giving you great feedback because I'm a real go-getter and I love to run into brick walls and turn them into doors
I
for
had that
other
quandary. So
people. And then I gave you some other pearls with the mention of heartriver.org. And that's just a whole other dimension of possibility here on the planet to help us stay, up and running. And
so
and the
say that
human
again. Heart River. What is that?
Heart River, I put it in the chat.org. Well, like I say, I'm giving you some pearls here. So I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate what they're doing. It's a long-standing nonprofit to help people become more aware of many aspects of what we have going on as people and on the planet. And they have many interviews on a podcast and a meditation Saturday mornings. But a lot of what they do, some of what is shared is about human design. Have you heard of that? Human design. I don't know if it's called theory or like personality tests, like your energetic design. So it's similar to what you're doing, but on a probably a deeper or more esoteric level, but a very practical one too. Do we do we still have a good connection? Because I
Yeah,
may.
no, that's good. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm
So
gonna check that out.
I
I'm
just
gonna
want to
check that
mention,
out. That sounds interesting.
yeah, Peter Roth. He's in his 80s. He started the New York City Marathon. He helped other people who wanted Special Olympics. He got that going. He was a belt karate, but he wasn't trying to be a show off. He was just kind of pushing himself and networking with people. And then he helped people discover Andorra crystals, which are help our energy system kind of tune up and tune in. And he had a lot of those gifted to him from the person who had them on their property that he, kind of directed go find those. So he's pretty much channeling, would be a safe word, but tuning into all this other information and people working with him are kind of on the same alternative wavelength. um, so I almost feel like, well, people understand AI, and I did mention Soci Snap on there. That's Victor Grant. He's another person who's been doing internet forever, and he has something different, similar but different. He says better, and I have to go check it out because I signed up a few years ago, but I haven't had the time. I haven't made the time to do that. But as long as more of the people who are really at the helm of these different things could know about each other, again, let's save time, give people the best sense of, work with your pattern is an idea of human design. If you're an extrovert, go ahead and use those skills. Don't try to just go meditate, far, far away from people and vice versa. but
It's
I,
funny because
go ahead.
Michelle and I just took a course, or we were like in a conference,
Yes.
and the speaker talked. Are you going to say that, Michelle? The speaker was
Yeah,
talking
you
about
go.
speak to your own style. right? And you're on Clubhouse. Like if you talk enough on Clubhouse, you just learn like I just got to be authentic. I just got to be who I am, right? And if you try to speak to a different style, you try to emulate someone who's successful, and they actually, you know, they're not your style, then you're just gonna fail. You don't look authentic.
You're in a, yeah,
And yeah, it just reminds me
you're
of that
fake.
speaker,
You're being
Michelle. Yeah.
fake. But I also, it made me think about something in this. I know we're at the top of the hour here. Is one of my friends always says is don't do anything that infringes on somebody else's whole human experience. I know that sounds very esoteric, but it really kind of stuck with me about everybody needs to do life in their own way. And it's our choice what we do with that and how we respond to it. And that's when I think, about the personality profiles, just to kind of wrap here, is I am interested in knowing, how other people want to communicate so that I'm not, seeming like I'm attacking them or ignoring them, whatever it is. Like it's all about just helping each other live that human experience to our full extent, Colin.
Yeah, awesome. Great way to end the show. You've been listening to Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat, Serial Entrepreneur Secrets Revealed podcast. And through YouTube now, we have almost 50,000 followers on YouTube. If you're not already doing that, go to YouTube, type in Startup Club HQ, or you can join us on Instagram. You can join us on LinkedIn. But the best way to really connect with us is go to startup.club and sign up to the email list. We have about 8 speakers coming on in September, October, authors. We're already booking November now. Catherine, maybe it'd be sort of interesting to get you on here going into a deep dive in your world, because I think it can be relevant to entrepreneurs and startups. But we have that. If you go to the website to sign up to the email list, I will say that if you haven't already done so as well, pick up a book of Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat. This was a book that came out in October 2023, 14 number one best-selling positions, 12 awards from 5 different award companies or ceremonies, and it's been recognized as one of the top business books in 2024. So if you get a chance, pick up the book, and now we have booklets available. The GPTs, we're opening up these GPTs, but
Workbooklets.
the workbook, yeah, but
Workbooks. Yeah.
workbooks, yeah, we have workbooks as well. But the GPTs, we may actually have to, Catherine, you're right. Like, we got to understand when they're going to open up that spigot a little bit more. But there is a way you can do AI through APIs, and so we have to maybe look at that if they're going to keep blocking our our um, our users who don't want to pay their $20 membership fee on OpenAI. All right, thank you very much, and we'll see y'all next Friday, 2 o'clock Eastern.
Oh, hey, could you put any of that in the chat? The sites you just said. I couldn't type so fast. Or
Just
I'll handle
www.startup.club.
club.
I'll throw that in the chat, but we're going to close the room, so you won't
Okay.
get. You'll
Thanks
have it
so
there for only a second.
Okay.
All right.